This is going to sound like so much hate, and I swear it's not.
Welcome to the Warner Brothers podcast. My name is Keenan, joined by my brother Kyle, joined by Timmy, joined by Brandon. We got a crew today, and we've got some stuff to discuss. College basketball, women's and men's has been great, and then I got some NFL stuff that I wanted to discuss. We got our aficionado, Tim, but how is everybody doing here?
Sunday night, ready for the work week, ready for tomorrow night.
Yeah, Brandon might have to call off tomorrow. Brandon might be calling off Tuesday, depending on how the game goes. Either way, honestly.
I hope my boss won't see this, but
yeah. I'll cut this part out just for him until afterward. But golly, yeah,
We'll bleep it out.
We'll
blur Brandon's face. He won't know. He won't know any different.
mystery guest.
Mystery guest, even though I'll say his name at the bottom, and clearly I said his name, but still will be a mystery guest. All right. Well, before we get talking and let Brandon talk about his Florida Gators getting to the national championship game, we did have a national championship game today, 3 p.m., and it was UConn versus South Carolina. Did anyone watch this game, just out of curiosity?
I was at work.
No. Okay, that's perfectly fine. Perfectly understandable. But just want to say congratulations to Gino. He had the longest drought between championships since he won his first one.
Like 2 years?
Up to championship. No, it was 9.
Was it really?
First one
Wow.
since 2016.
Yeah.
First since 2016. No, they're on a legitimate drought. So like it was Brianna Stewart's last season there was their last championship. So yeah, crazy to think. I mean, they've been in multiple Final Fours. I mean, Paige was in 4 or 5 different Final Fours, but like, yeah, no. So shout out to Paige. She doesn't get the only UConn player, only UConn great to never win one, so she wins one as expected. But one thing I wanted to mention from it was Angel Reese had mentioned something, and I can tweet after. She's like, our 2020 class is like doing very well. Like, congrats to that 2020 class. And honestly, that class specifically has changed the entire landscape of women's basketball. I'm just going to read through who's in this class. We got Paige was the number 1 recruit. She's obviously going to be the number 1 pick in this WNBA draft. Angel Reese was the 2. Obviously, she's second in Rookie of the Year last year. Cameron Brink was 3. Been 3-on-3 at the Olympics, and obviously she was the number 2 pick in last year's draft. Caitlin Clark was 4. So you have Caitlin Clark, who's just Caitlin Clark. Haley Van Lith is she's going to be a top 10 pick in this draft. Leah Edwards was a top 6 pick in this last year's draft. Camila Cardozo was a 3rd pick in last year's draft. She was amazing. And then a girl named Tahina Pau, who plays for South Carolina, she's going to be a 1st-round pick. Like, this whole draft, like, when you have a lineup of Paige, Angel Reese, Cameron Brink, Caitlin Clark, Haley Van Lith, like, those are 5 players there. And then there's other players, Maddie Westbeld, Sarah Ashley Barker, people who can still make the WNBA, maybe 2nd or 3rd round. But I just wanted to say shout out to this class. And this is actually the class I was most excited about because if Kyle remembers, we were watching way back. We were watching highlights of Paige, Haley Van Lith, Zia Cook, and everybody in the living room. It was me, him, and Camden Dennis. And this was a shout out Camden again. But this was back.
I remember you guys pulling it up like. It was crazy because you guys were pulling it up like how we used to pull up like the John Wall who mixtape and the Andrew Wiggins who mixtape. And you guys were like, this is who's got next. And I'm like, how the fuck do y'all know girls high school basketball prospects? Like, shouts to y'all for doing it.
Over there watching it like it's a Tavon Austin
For
highlight.
real. I feel like I'm watching the Austin Rivers highlight reel, but it's Haley Van Lith. It was kind of crazy, but
I'm just saying, and I mean, I didn't want to say they got next, and I said it, but they got next, and I did say they got next, and obviously shout out to Camden for that too. But I wanted to give congratulations to that 2020 class and for UConn championship, obviously getting back off the championship side. Shout out to them, and shout out to Paige because she deserves it, and she'll be the number 1 pick here in I think about 10 days. So we get to see her in
what was South Carolina's record going into this game?
35-3.
It's crazy to me because I think I saw UConn was a 15.5 point favorite.
They were 5.5 to start the game. They probably were 15.5. Like they won the first quarter by 5, second quarter by 5, third quarter by 10, and then the fourth quarter by something. Like UConn had one of their more impressive runs because they blew, like in the Final Four, they blew out the number 1 overall seed in UCLA. They blew them out by like 28-ish, 26, 28. And then they did the same thing to South Carolina. The defending national champions, been to 3 of the last 4 national championship games. Like they went on a run, but when you have the best freshman in the country, the best player in the country, arguing Juju, whatever, but the best healthy player in the country for sure, and then AZ Fudd, who next year will be probably a top 5 pick in the WNBA draft, who had 24 and was the most outstanding player. She arguably was your 3rd best player and the most outstanding. Like, can't really do much with that. But, alrighty. We can move on from the women's side and move right into the men's side. We had 2 great games. We had Florida beating Auburn, and then Houston with the comeback upset. Timmy's Houston squad over Duke. Brandon, obviously, he's been repping Florida every time he's been on this until they win, of course, if they do win.
I hope they do.
Here's the floor. How'd you feel about that game? And then what do you think your chances are against Houston tomorrow night or today if you're watching tomorrow?
I knew, so I obviously knew going in, like, especially with it being an SEC game, like Auburn's a very physical team. Like I knew it was going to be a dogfight until the very end. Mm-hmm. Even like, you know, going down 8 at half, like I just felt them like, you know, we're in this game. Like we're still in it. Just based off of how we played like the whole tournament. And we come out, we go on a 9-0 run. You know, Walter Clayton comes out and, you know, starts hitting shots. Elijah Martin comes out. Mm-hmm. He puts up 17 himself. Thomas Houck comes out, drops another 12. It honestly, like,
dunk of the tournament, though.
Yeah. Absolutely.
That was all
with a slap on the head too.
Yeah, no, that was like, dunk of the tournament. That was crazy.
So I was like, you know, like I never really felt that we were out of it. And like I said the last time that we recorded, like Florida has played this whole tournament. They've played B- to B games mm-hmm. in terms of like what they can do. Like when they played Auburn at Auburn, like that wasn't close until the end of the game. When we beat Alabama by damn near 20 in Tuscaloosa, it also wasn't close. Like Florida has not played a complete game yet, and I really think they're going to save it for tomorrow night. Mm-hmm. I like how we match up with Houston. Obviously, we have size over Houston's wings, over Joseph Tuggle, Juwan Roberts, and Javier Francis. Houston's extremely gritty, though. Like, mm-hmm. I mean, they're gritty. They're going to crash the offensive boards. Like, I think we match up well with them because of our depth. We have probably the deepest team in college basketball, maybe the second deepest. I mean, we've got guys coming off the bench, Denzel Aberdeen, Thomas Houck. Mm-hmm. They would start on majority of other Power 5 teams. Hell, Aberdeen and Houck probably could go to Kentucky, could go to other SEC schools and probably start too. I think the key to us to win is Alex Condon and Ruben Chinyelu have to be huge. Like yeah. they've got to rebound like bigs. Like we need Alex Condon where he dropped 27 and 10 against Alabama. Walter Clayton's got to do Walter Clayton things, mm-hmm. and Elijah Martin's got to show up. Will Richard has to knock down some threes. I think we can tire Houston out. I think we can wear them down within the last 5 minutes of the game. I look forward to us doing that. I think we're going to come out and be physical. I think we're going to match their physicality. I think we're going to crash the offensive boards. We were one of the best offensive rebounding teams in the nation this year. I think it was at 37%, and we're at 40 in the tournament. Mm-hmm. We've got 4 bigs. I mean, we've got guys on the bench that we can rotate. I think we match up well with them. I think it's going to be a low-scoring game. Like I really think it's going to be like a 74-70 kind of game. But obviously, I'm riding, with the home team.
Yeah. Timmy, I'm going to let you speak about your Houston roster here in a moment and why they're going to win. But one thing I wanted to just say that right in between that is when I was talking about the Houston Duke game, I know we're kind of bouncing back and forth just between the two Final Four games, but I thought it was going to be a race to 70, and the first team to get 70 would win. Houston did get to 70, and they ended up winning just because I thought that game was going to be very physical. The thing that happened with Duke is obviously the end of the game, their last 3 minutes of execution in this game was very poor, and that's what you have for. I mean, you get teams like this. You get these experienced teams who have been in these situations a lot. Duke hasn't been pressed like that too much. Duke hasn't been pushed to that brink where they have to be late game execution on a high level against these high level teams. So you get into these situations and you try to figure out who you are and what you do well, what you don't do well. So it's always good when you have these close games. But I think with Florida, Duke only made 7 threes. Florida, if they can get to 12 threes plus that, I think they've got it. It
shouldn't be hard for us because, I mean, we have guys outside of Clayton that can shoot.
Oh, absolutely. And that's the thing. That was the thing with Duke. I thought that the reason why I think this matchup's a little bit better than Duke. And I think it's because Duke can match you athletically, but they also can shoot. Obviously, like Proctor can shoot. You have. Obviously, Khan is a very good shooter, and then you've got Cooper who can hit him if he's open for sure. But they've got people who can shoot. But I just think athletically Duke matches up with you guys well. I think Houston, they're bigger, and they're kind of bigger, kind of thicker, they're more gritty, as you were saying. I think that you guys can outlast them just speed-wise. But, Timmy, why is Houston going to win this game?
It's going to be a gritty win. It's going to be a defensive win. I think we're going to get a low-scoring game, actually.
Okay.
I don't quite even see 70 in the cards here. I think we're getting 60s, maybe even one team in the 50s here, really low.
The lower scoring the game, the better for Houston.
Better for Houston.
They
exactly.
cannot,
like you said, they can win the gritty matchups. So if Florida doesn't get hot, they stop making some threes. That's exactly Houston's game, and they just proved that they can come back from a 10-point deficit in a minute if they need to. So. It was really, really great. I love the putback dunk. That was my favorite part. It wasn't any of the threes to cut the lead there. It was just the miss, and the guy goes up and just dunks it. That's my favorite part about basketball. Love that. Duke pissed the game away. If you get that inbound pass, it's a completely different game. It really is. And then let's start getting some rebounds. Let's start boxing out. They didn't do any of that. So, like you said.
Proctor with a miss one-on-one.
Yeah.
Yes, that was huge.
Hate to say it, but Cooper, that was kind of a brick, buddy. It's a little short, so.
You can't ask for a better look. You got your 6'10" athlete fading away from 11 in the middle of the paint. You cannot ask for a better look. He's going to be thinking about that one for the rest of his life. Genuinely. Obviously, is it going to haunt him? No. But he's going to be thinking about that one man. Even if he wins a championship, he's going to be man. I had that. We could have won the game.
It was a good look.
It was a great look.
Yeah.
Listen, if you ask Coach Shai, hey, what look do you want? Cooper Flag 11-foot fadeaway where he's not really heavily contested. Yeah, I'll take that every time. Every time I'll take it. Yeah, no. So that was I got Florida in this game actually. So I think Florida shooting and their athleticism on the wings is going to be a little bit too much, going to overwhelm Houston a little bit. And I do think it's again a race to 70, and I think Florida gets to 70 first.
I do got a quick question. Why the hell is UConn versus South Carolina not going right now? Why did they play it at 3:00? Why can't they get an 8:00?
Yeah, that was weird to me.
They every single year the women's national championship game is at 3:00 on.
They need to fix that because when you asked the question, did you guys watch the game? I was at work. Kyle was at work. Brandon, I don't know about you. Everybody's working. Put that game on at 8:00. I'm watching it right now. I will watch that game if they move it to a primetime slot.
Yeah. No, I don't know why they don't have it in the primetime slot, but they very much should. I get 3:00 on Sunday seems like a prime spot for women's basketball. I don't know why if you look at the WNBA games right here, or the ABC NBA games happen to be on Sunday at this time or that time too, but they love the Sunday at 3. But I would maybe not 3, but I would have it Sunday at 6. I think Sunday 6:30 would have been perfect because it's still early, but it's not like people who work your regular 9 to 5s can be home for 6. Obviously, if you work retail and you work late on a Sunday, even though Sundays are the days people can get out earliest, but like whatever. I'm not mad at the 6 o'clock. I think the 6 o'clock would be perfect.
He's right though. They should put it in prime time, given that their Final Four is in prime time as well. You know what I mean? Their Final Four is played on a Friday at a good time. You know what I mean?
7 and 9, yeah.
So I don't. Yeah, it never makes sense that they play it during the day. Like I almost forget about it every year up until it happens. You know what? I wouldn't be mad either. It'd be a little tough to do, but and you know what? Women's college basketball has always probably been bigger than the WNBA, probably up until like the last 5 years. But I don't even see why they don't share sites necessarily with the men's NCAA. And then you could do a Monday, women's play at 6, men play at 9. I think that would be super dope. That would be a whole celebration of just the game of basketball in general. Or even play it on Tuesday.
That would be great.
You've got the men's slot late enough. I mean, the game don't tip off until 8:50, so it realistically won't tip off until probably about 9:15. So you definitely could do that.
I think the only reason is because like the celebration of like you have to cut, like you have the podium, you have all that, you cut down the nets, and then like, so I think that's the only reason why, is because there's so much pandemonium after the games that are going on. Because obviously, like you talk, okay, so like after Hollywood talked to Gino, then talk to Paige, then talk to Azy, then talk to Sarah, then talk to Gino again, then they cut down the nets, and then they go through all of that. So I think that's the only reason why they don't. But you're right, basketball-wise, having a celebration of the men's and women's game on the same day makes perfect sense. So if they could figure out a way to do that.
Or even have it on the same site, but like we said originally, do today's game at 8 p.m., 9 p.m., have it in San Antonio where the men are playing. Or do it Tuesday night at 8 or 9 p.m.
Yeah. It always got me that they're in different spots. Like that's the part that got me. Like I understand different days I get, but just different spots. Like just why wouldn't you have like all of them could be in either in Tampa or San Antonio? It doesn't matter. Like just why don't you just have them in the same?
Yeah.
Because then you get the men's then you get like college basketball fans together.
Yeah.
Because like you have the men's fans and the women's fans there at the same time together. You get the men's fans supporting. Like last year in the Final Four, UConn men and women were both there. Would have been cool to have the men watching the women watching the men, like cheering. You know what I mean? Like that kind of thing. So,
it makes sense.
Not that you have that every year.
It makes sense, especially since you do all the regional action at wherever. You can still keep all the regional spots, Sweet 16, Elite 8. You can keep that all wherever, but have a Final Four combined, men and women's. I think it makes sense, especially in this day and age.
Okay. If anyone has anything else, Kyle, who do you have, Florida or Houston?
You know what? We got 2 for Florida. I'm going to roll with Tim. I'm going to go Houston. No real reason other than I picked them to beat Duke this weekend. I actually caught the last 10 minutes of that game. It was enjoyable. It was enjoyable basketball. I didn't love – I mean, what I don't love about college basketball, and the NBA has the same problem, but college had it worse, I feel like, before the NBA. And this was even before review, was just all the stoppages. That's what I do not miss about college basketball. It's like it was disgusting 10 years ago in college basketball because once you get to the under 4 timeout, it's just stoppage after stoppage after stoppage. Now you add review to that. It makes it even more of a hard watch. But overall, it was a fun game. Last 5 minutes, though, I think 1 field goal combined from both teams. Last 4 minutes, last 5 minutes, something like that. So that's what I don't miss about watching college basketball, but I guess that's part of the beauty of it, is that a lot of these games are a struggle. A lot of these games do come down to coaching and, your more elder players in this case, because your freshmen are going to have moments like Proctor did at the end of the game. But I still come away from this, like shouts to Houston. Cooper Flagg impresses me every single time I watch him. I can't believe that kid's 18. He plays like he's 22. Whoever gets the first overall pick this year is extremely lucky because that kid, you could put him on any roster right now in the NBA and they're going to be better. Any roster. So.
Absolutely. Yeah. He is starting on, or at least he's getting heavy rotation minutes on every team. I don't care if they're a championship level team or not. Like on the Thunder right now, he is getting heavy minutes. He'd probably come off the bench But like Hartenstein, your minutes are cutting like a half. Because you could run a Cooper. You could even take out Chet. You could run a Cooper. You could run Cooper at the 5 and have that athleticism in the middle. Like he literally could be dropped whatever team you want to put him on. Hey, Porzingis, you can sit. We got Cooper. You're good. Like Boston, we're good. And they're a better team because like it could be a better team because of it. He's just
at worst, you're gonna get something like Andre Kirilenko with a jump shot right now. That's at worst. Like at worst, you're looking at a 3-4 time All-Star. At the worst.
Yeah.
Yeah,
and he's gonna come into the league probably 18 and a half, turning 19.
Yeah.
It's scary. It's scary for whoever gets him. And I feel like he's gonna be a guy like Washington. They've been terrible my entire life. Like they can never get shit right. I feel like he's a player that if you put him on the Wizards, it doesn't even matter if they have bad coaching, doesn't matter if their GM's bad, like he's still gonna drag them to the playoffs, drag them to success. And he's not even like a number one knockdown scorer like that either. Like he's just so well rounded and so good at everything at a base level that I just can't wait to see his career. Really can't.
Same. And so I'm gonna ask the panel here. I got a few things that we could talk about. We're gonna switch to the NFL. I got a few things. So there is Maurice Jones-Drew came out with his mock draft. The top 10 is insane. We could talk about that. Joe Milton to the Dallas. Julio Jones retiring. I have a couple questions on that. And then DraftKings released all the odds of every team, and I have them written down here. And we could talk about over-unders on some of these teams. What are you guys feeling out of that Russian roulette that I just have?
Let's do let's go in order. Actually, let's go with Maurice Jones-Drew first because that's still keeping the college.
Yeah, because I didn't see the Maurice Jones-Drew thing. So
yeah, I didn't do the full thing. Like, yeah, 21. He had Jackson Dart going to the Steelers. He had a few other things that were like fine down though, but the top 10 is what stuck out, and there's one reason why it did. So Maurice Jones-Drew had his mock draft 1.0, and 1, Tennessee got Cam Ward. Okay. 2, Cleveland got Abdul Carter. Okay. 3, New York has Shedeur Sanders. Okay. 4, the Patriots have Will Campbell. Okay. 5, the Jacksonville Jaguars get Ted McMillan. Okay. 6, the Raiders get Austin Gianti. 7, Travis Hunter goes to the Jets. 8, Jalen Walker goes to Carolina. 9, Amanda Membu goes to the Saints. And 10, TreVeyon Henderson goes to
TreVeyon Henderson?
TreVeyon Henderson goes
running
10
back,
to
Ohio State. That's TreVeyon Henderson.
I'm going to look it up again, but I read TreVeyon Henderson at 10 to the Chicago Bears, and I'm going to make sure I'm right on this again. But the thing that we're going to talk about first, Travis Hunter at 7. How do you guys feel about that while I look at this mock draft again? Because I am pretty 98% positive that that's what
I'll go.
I'm about to fall out of my chair.
No, TreVeyon Henderson, senior back from Ohio State, going 10 to the Chicago Bears.
All right, as a Jaguar fan, we got to disown Maurice Jones-Drew after that shit. What the?
I'll go first because I know the least about college football.
Yep.
Knowing what I don't know, right? I mean, my lack of college football knowledge, I should say.
Rhymes.
All right.
College
bars. Hashtag bars. That's one thing I brought up before. Like the one thing I do grasp from this, especially when you got teams at the top who do need quarterbacks, but also have weird situations like the Giants, like the Browns, with a mix of actual elite talent. You don't really got elite talent at the quarterback position by the sounds at the top of the draft. But as we hear this weekend, it does sound like Cam Ward's going number 1. Who knows? We still got a few weeks here, but that's what it sounds like. It can get weird. It does seem like someone will drop further than they should. I don't know if it'll be all the way to 7 at the Jets for Travis Hunter. But like that's the thing that I think is going to happen. Whether it's Travis Hunter, whether it's someone else, I do think we're going to get some weird and crazy results from this draft, from this first round especially. I think night 1, that Thursday night, if we came here on a Friday and we're discussing night 1, I think we're going to have yeah, quite a few surprises. We got that last year in a draft where, stuff seemed pretty chalk. We still got Michael Penix Jr. going, what, 8? So
Yeah,
you had that this year with like he had Shador going to the Giants. That seems crazy given that they got 2 quarterbacks, veteran quarterbacks that they just picked up, but you could also see it happening. So Travis Hunter.
Oh yeah,
Travis Hunter, like I don't think he'll be the one to drop, but I do think we'll get someone from that group that drops, or maybe we get a trade. Someone maybe trades with the Pats, or someone like that trades back. You just never know what you're gonna get. And that's on a normal draft where things seem chalk. This draft already seems weird, and we ain't even there yet. So I definitely expect some crazy things. Obviously, Brandon had a reaction to what Maurice Jones-Drew has. Like, maybe it won't get that crazy as y'all think it is, but whether it's Travis Hunter, whether it's someone else, maybe Abdul Carter, whoever it is, yeah, I do believe someone's going to drop, or I do think someone's going to get weird, or I could see Shador dropping way farther. You know what I mean? Going maybe where he should be drafted. I'm prepared for just about anything in terms of this draft.
All right, either Timmy or Brandon next. Which one?
I guess I'll go. So I don't think Travis Hunter makes it past Jacksonville. Like I think if Hunter was sitting there at 5, like it's between Hunter and Mason Graham's the defensive tackle from Michigan for Jacksonville. I think. I think Hunter goes at 4 to New England. I think if you're going to draft an offensive lineman, I think it's going to be Amar Benbu over Will Campbell because of Will Campbell's arms. So do you want to draft it? Because he's probably going to play guard. So
pause for just half a second. I just want to let you know, Will Johnson was going 23rd. Just wanted to let you know that.
That is low.
That is very low. That's why I wanted to say it out loud while I was thinking of it because I knew I'd forget. But anyways, go on.
Wow. So yeah, the thing is, do you want to take what profiles as a guard at 4? I don't think Will Campbell goes there. I think Hunter goes there. I wouldn't be surprised if Sanders kind of slips. I know the Giants need a quarterback, but I think they can wait until next year to get a quarterback. I don't think there's really an issue to force it because he's probably not going to play over Russell Wilson in year 1. I understand if you want to sit him, let him develop, whatever. Everything else is fine until TreVeyon Henderson. No disrespect to TreVeyon Henderson, great running back, but Amarian Hampton is light years better than him, the running back from North Carolina. A lot of people think he's a top 15 back. TreVeyon Henderson is consensus second round draft pick, kind of mid second round. Like I said, he's a great running back, but him and Judkins are in that range. That's crazy. And the Bears, they have DeAndre Swift's okay. He's a cool player, but they don't need a running back right there. That's especially for someone like TreVeyon Henderson. That's way too high to take him.
Yeah.
And Will Johnson at 23 is criminal too, because I think Will Johnson should go at worst the 16 to 18th pick. I think that's kind of the very bottom for him.
Mm-hmm. Yeah, I'm looking at other mock drafts right now, and I'm not seeing anyone have TreVeyon Henderson, and even in the first round. And that was the understanding of he's going to be a very quality round 2 or day 2 back, and people were going to be like, "Oh, we got a guy who can actually start on this roster." No, it's he's definitely an NFL starter.
Yeah,
he can be a very good NFL player, just that high. When there are people on the board, yeah, no, it's crazy. Timmy, what are your thoughts? I can read through it again if you didn't have it or if you pulled it up, whatever.
I just want to know where Janty was going. It's 6th to who?
6th to Vegas.
To Vegas. Okay. I mean, that's not crazy, him going to 6. I think the reason why they have him taking, who'd you say it was, TreVeyon Henderson?
TreVeyon Henderson to the Bears at 10.
To the Bears, just because a lot of people are mocking Janty to the Bears, saying that they're going for a running back. They're going all out here. Henderson and Judkins, it reminds me a lot of when Sony Michel and Nick Chubb were both at Georgia.
Yep.
They're both, at best, end of first-round guys, beginning of second round, day 2 picks. They're going to be impact players 100%. But at 10, that's a big reach. You could definitely work with a lot of picks to get them a lot later. So that's kind of crazy. Out of all those people that could fall, I could see it being Hunter, but I really don't think he gets past the Pats. I think they're going to eye him as both a wide receiver and a corner. So the one thing that's a little confusing is that Travis Hunter's pro day, he didn't do any defensive back drills. He didn't do any back pedals. He didn't do any coverage. He only ran routes and did wide receiver stuff. So if that's his idea as he's coming in as wide receiver, then I could see the Patriots being intrigued by that and getting, a two-way player that you could put at the slot if you want to, but then primarily use him as wide receiver. I think that could work. So I don't think he gets past the Pats. I could see Will Campbell falling. I think he's the biggest chance of falling outside the top 10 because he's had this negative draft thing with his arms. And there's a lot of other tackles that people think are just as good that, they could take their shot on. He's going to be a good lineman, like T-Rex. No doubt. He proved it in college. In the SEC, he was dominant. Like it's not going to fail unless he goes to the Giants, and they'll just fail him anyways.
Yeah, then they're going to screw him over.
Yeah, exactly.
Or no, you want to be. What would actually be hilarious if the Giants are just going to build like some real good offensive line over the next like year, and it's gonna be like, well, we couldn't do this with Saquon here. We couldn't do this with Saquon in the building, but we need to build like a great line right now. What are we doing?
They need to protect Russ is what they need to do. I could actually see the Giants taking Mason Graham at 3. I actually don't think that that's crazy. I don't know.
He's a good player.
He is a very good player, and he's immediately plugged into pretty much any roster that drafts him. And I don't know if the Giants, they wouldn't take Carter. They already have too many DNs that they want to keep. And I think they like this secondary group that they've drafted and got over the last couple of years here. So I could see them taking Graham being the best defensive player available for them. So I could see Hunter falling, but it just really sucks. I don't think the Patriots are going to pass on him. And they definitely won't pass on Carter, no doubt.
No, so, I could not.
Yeah, Carter's the best player in the draft.
Yeah. I cannot see them passing on Hunter at all. But
another thing,
go on.
Travis Hunter is now the favorite to go number 2 overall. He's the betting favorite to go 2.
Wow.
So that makes me think, why is he falling all the way to 7? That's a little worrying. But like Brandon said, he ain't getting past Jacksonville. Like, no doubt, they need plug and play defensive players, and that's exactly what they would get with him. So
yeah,
someone should draft Cooper Flag.
Cooper Flag, Cleveland Browns.
No, I was interested in what you guys thought about that. Yeah, no, Hunter's not getting past the Patriots at 4. I couldn't see it. Just can't see it at all. And other than that, I don't think this is all that crazy other than TreVeyon Henderson going 10. Like, that was another thing where you're like, wait a second. What are we doing? Like, if you're going to do that, you might as well just trade down to the end of the first and get a haul for the 10 pick. And then get TreVeyon Henderson. Exactly. If you want that to be your first round pick, cool.
They can just move back 15 spots and take it.
Genuinely, hey, whomever, go get him. Like,
you only want to give us a third to move up 15 spots? Sure.
Like, call the Eagles. I'm sure the Eagles would love to trade up.
You could be like, hey, we'll move all the way down. You can give us like a second next year and a third this year, and then maybe a fourth in the coming years, and we'll move all the way down. Like, we still got our guy. But anyways, okay, so I'll move on. To the next thing I'm going to talk about, which is Julio Jones. Shout out to Julio Jones for a great career. He ended with 13,703 yards, which is 16th all time, 66 touchdowns. He was not a touchdown guy. 914 receptions, 82.2 yards per game. A lot of that went down towards the latter part of his season because there was one point where he was leading that all time, but he's 7th now. My first question to you guys: is Julio Jones a first ballot Hall of Famer?
Of course, yeah.
Yeah. I'm just checking to make 100% sure. I think that he is, and it's more so leading into my next question. And Timmy, I'm assuming you think he's a first ballot Hall of Famer guy, of course.
I think he checks all the boxes. You can't really do much more as a wide receiver.
That checks all the boxes. No, I completely agree. He's first ballot. So from his first Pro Bowl to his last Pro Bowl, I wrote down some numbers. From 2012 to 2019, he was about 99 yards per game on 7 catches. Every season, he was averaging about 93 catches, 1,396 yards, and 6 touchdowns. On a per 17 game basis, that's 112 catches, 1,680 for yards, and 7 touchdowns. So, like, you could pretty much pencil him in for 1,400 yards every single season and close to 100 catches. Like, this guy was one of the elite receivers of his generation, and that leads into my next question. Do you think he is the best receiver of his generation? And I'll name you some guys who were in his time because it's like difficult to think because obviously like he came in and Randy's year was afterwards. He's not Randy's generation, of course, but the guys who played during him for the most part of like with his prime: Larry Fitzgerald, Brandon Marshall, Antonio Brown, DeAndre Hopkins, half of Calvin Johnson, back half of Calvin Johnson, Devontae Adams, Keenan Allen. You want to count Tyreek Hill, Mike Evans, Deshaun Jackson are the guys kind of, some of those guys were like towards the tail end of his like last, say, 4, and then some of them were like to his last 4, like in between, but like the real one, like in the smack dab in the middle is like Larry Fitz and then Brandon Marshall, but he's better than Brandon Marshall. I literally was going down the list of yards and like looking at the guys that were like there and looking at his years, and that was just that.
It's tough to decipher because like I think both Fitzgerald and Calvin Johnson, I think they both came in the league when I was in like junior high. And Julio
Fitz was 04 to 2020. And so Fitz was established, but like so just to give you context before his first Pro Bowl was in 2012. His last one was in 2019. So I kind of tried to base it around that-ish time because I was really showing his peak. I just wanted to
because he came in, I think he was drafted 11 or 10. I think the one that would stick out to me, let's say if we're just keeping it 2010s, like your prime's in the 2010s, we'll throw Calvin Johnson in there because I think he probably retired in, 16?
15. I think 07 to 15.
So maybe taking out Calvin Johnson, I think the one... funny enough, who would still like reign supreme and is probably the best from that era is still Antonio Brown. His stats are just ridiculous, like fucking ridiculous. And he was just incredibly consistent. But Julio, for my money, he was my favorite receiver from that era. I wish the Pats would have somehow got him. Funny enough, they did get Antonio Brown once upon a time for 1 week. I loved Julio though. Like
for 8 days.
Aside from Tom Brady, Randy Moss is my favorite player of all time, and Julio is the closest person who reminds me of Randy Moss, as far as from a go up and get it type standpoint. Not saying
one of the better catches in Super Bowl history. That one on the side. I mean, that one on the sideline is insane.
For sure.
That is literally him and Randy. And Calvin Johnson are the only 3 because you have to be 6'4" to make that. Like Jerry couldn't even make because he's just not tall enough. But like you have to be that kind of athletic to get that kind of thing. Sure. And that was amazing.
And let me be clear when I say that, like even when I say he's the one who reminds me of Randy Moss the closest, that's still like 35-40%. Like nobody's Randy Moss from an athletic standpoint. But I love Julio was my favorite to watch as far as receivers go from the 2010s. My favorite play of his is probably that catch he had over Luke Kuechly. I think Matt Ryan breaks free of the pocket and just like throws it up, and he fucking mosses Kuechly, and then track stars his way into the end zone. Like Julio was just dope, and like you said, he didn't really get into the end zone as much as he should. There were years when he had like 3 or 4 touchdowns or something crazy like that. Doesn't really make sense at all, but
no, they sucked with him. So basically, it always got me. He'd either be like sometimes double teamed in the red zone, or there'll be times where like Matt Ryan had him 1-on-1 and just wouldn't put it up for him. It's like, Matt, just throw it to him. I promise you, when it comes to high pointing a football, he's the one. Like, just throw it to him. He'll probably get it.
And while we're talking prospects too, I think he was probably, after Calvin Johnson and Fitz, he was probably the best receiver prospect of that era.
Oh,
yeah. Until Jeremiah Smith comes in the league.
Yeah, like he's coming out of Alabama. Yeah.
So shouts to Julio. Shouts on a career. Honestly thought he was retired 2 years ago. When I saw the news the other day, I was like, oh,
it might as well have been. I'll go Timmy then Brandon. Timmy, is he the best receiver of that generation? of his generation.
Unfortunately, he's number 2. AB's peak was definitely higher than Julio's, and AB even did it better longer. Julio fell off when he got on the Titans.
Antonio Brown did it with CTE too.
Yeah, exactly. We saw good stuff on the Bucs from Antonio Brown at his older age and his older CTE. So, AB's one.
Late stage CTE for Antonio Brown.
Yeah.
Like, obviously, peak for peak, like, if you wanted to draft a receiver for 10 years and you wanted to take one guy, I would say Julio. Just because, like, I can guarantee he's going to be on the field and be a human being for 10 years.
Yeah, you're not going to have. He didn't have any locker room issues like that.
No, like
he was a very get to
That's
work.
the time out for Kyle.
I didn't hear what Kyle said. I was speaking. What did you?
Chris Hogan.
Oh. Hey, all I gotta say, 2016. AFC Championship game, NFC Championship game, Julio Jones went off, and Chris Hogan put up the same numbers against the Steelers. That's all I'm going to say. I'm going to go look it up. They played the exact same numbers. Chris Hogan was one of them ones, I tell you.
One of them white ones.
one of them white ones. All right, Brandon. You got an Antonio Brown, or you got yourself some Julio Jones?
So we're talking peak.
We'll talk
here.
peak. Yeah, we'll say peak.
So it's going to be a high. Like, I love Julio. I think Julio is one of the greatest receivers of all time. Like, I really do. But, like, if I'm talking peak, I'm taking AB. I'm definitely taking Megatron because, like, Megatron was just, like, when I think of, like, dominant receivers, like, let's be honest, if Megatron played for another 4 or 5 years, probably could have challenged Jerry to be the all-time leading receiver in the NFL. Like, probably had a chance to break every major record. When I think he retired at 30 or 31. Like, he was still young.
They wouldn't let him out of Detroit. He said, "Fine, I'm out."
Yeah,
give me the fuck out of here.
And
I got something to say afterwards. I just thought of it.
There's a conversation for Larry Fitzgerald too. Like, Larry Fitzgerald to me is also one of the greatest receivers of all time. Like, I think he's heavily disrespected. I think it boils down to, like, the kind of receiver that, like, how I think of it is, like, what kind of receiver do you want? But, like, I definitely think, like, I think AB and Megatron I would take over Julio, but then, like, it's probably Julio, then Larry Fitzgerald. But, like I said, I think Julio is, like, one of the greatest to ever do it.
Yeah.
I was actually a guy during their career who, when they were playing, I was actually a Fitz over Calvin Johnson guy. Like, that would have been who you gave me. Now, I mean, looking back, Megatron's such a game breaker. Like, the way I look at it like this, like, Tyreek, at his best, Tyreek is a bigger game breaker than Justin Jefferson, but Justin Jefferson's a better all-around receiver. That's kind of how I viewed Fitz. I always liked Fitz as a pure receiver, better than Calvin Johnson. Looking back, you can't go wrong. And again, Megatron's definitely is just a game breaker. I mean, he's like fucking LeBron James out there. But, like, in that day, high school years, college years, in my early 20s, I was all about Fitz over Calvin Johnson. I was one of those guys starting and having that argument.
Fair.
Yeah, that's very fair.
So I think I lean Antonio Brown over Julio Jones. Pete, when you're going to that, I just want to say one thing, though. I just went to Antonio Brown through that same exact stretch of when not Calvin Jones, when Julio Jones, was going nuts. He was obviously doing the same kind of thing. And his per 17 game averages were 122 yards, 1608, and 12 touchdowns. And then Julio Jones was 122 receptions, 1608, and 12 touchdowns. Julio Jones was 112, 1680, and 7 touchdowns. So Antonio Brown got him in the touchdowns and the receptions, and then Julio got him in the yards over that stretch, if you could put it a per 17 game basis. Two of the great receivers in this game. And Julio Jones, absolutely first ballot Hall of Famer. Wanted to give him his props there. But, okay, I only wanted to do a couple of these teams right now. And then we can maybe do some of them later on or kind of go through and do more teams as they go on. But the first team that I'm going to bring up right now is the San Francisco 49ers. These are the odds. All odds were provided by DraftKings. Shout out DraftKings as if we have a sponsorship with them, but all odds provided by DraftKings here. In the NFC West, they are the favorites to win the NFC West. And right now, their over-under is at 10.5. And if you take the over, it's plus 110. Do you think they're going over or under? Timmy, start with you.
What was the over-under again? I blanked.
No, you're all good. 10.5.
They should get over that. Like, they're the 49ers. They're a very competent team. They're very well coached. I'm going to take the under, though. I think this team is getting older. They're not going to have Ayuk the whole year. They still haven't locked up Purdy. We don't know what the deal is with that. And then George Kittle's going to want his money, too. CMC, if you're telling me he's playing a full season, yeah, I'm taking the over. But I don't think we can really guarantee that at this point in his career. So I'll take the under. I think they're right around the 8-9. Even 10-win team, but, like, it's going to be very close. I don't think they're going to smash it either way.
All right, Brandon.
I'm going to take the over. I could see them winning 11 games. I think a lot of people put a little bit too much stock into like them losing Debo, and like I think if you get a healthy season for McCaffrey, like he should be fine. Like their receiver core, like it's Ayuk, it's Juwan Jennings, it's Ricky Pearsall. Like they have studs at receiver. Obviously Brock Purdy if he's healthy. The defense is probably a safe bet to be good again this year, even with some of the departures in free agency, because they typically draft well. John Lynch is pretty good at identifying talent. I'll take the over at 11. I feel pretty confident with that. Like I could see 11 or 12 wins.
That'd be a good bet then. At plus 110, not bad odds at that at all, Kyle.
Real quick, Jokic got a 41, 15, and 13 goal right now.
He had 29. He had 26, 9 and 6, or 29, 9 and 6 at half. So yeah, he's doing one of them.
He's a sicko. I actually had a few of these in my saved bets for FanDuel. They apparently went away, which means they must have changed a lot of these over-unders. San Francisco is one I had at under for right now. Given what the draft could be, if they pick anyone up late or they make any trades, that could change. Right now, 10.5, asking for 11 wins seems high, just because the NFC West does seem like it, at the least, will be competitive, even with the Seahawks and Cardinals. I think they're lesser teams, but they can get you losses if you're the Niners. And obviously the Rams, we all think, have improved. So right now, I would go under. I would have them right at 10 wins, maybe a 9-win team. I don't really see them having back-to-back unsuccessful seasons. And really, if they just stay healthy this year, I don't see them missing the playoffs. So, yeah, I'd have them right at 10 wins right now. I just don't see back-to-back unsuccessful seasons.
I have them on the under. I think they'll be anywhere. I think they'll be anywhere between the 8 and 10 range. It just all really depends on their season. I think their max is 11 to me. 11, 12. I mean, 12 would be their absolute cap for me right now. Obviously, we don't know it. This is 5 months in advance, essentially, or about 5 months in advance. But I have them right now at the under, and that's what the favored line would be putting them at the under. That's the first team, another NFC team, but we're going to go to the North. I'm interested in the Detroit Lions. They're over under at 10.5. And that's minus 110. So Vegas is leaning that they're going to get 10.5. They're going to get over 10.5. But Timmy, your thoughts again? We'll just go in that order. Timmy, Brandon, Kyle.
I'm tempted to say under just because the NFC North is pretty competitive. The Vikings were great. Packers are always good. And if Ben Johnson does wonders with Caleb Williams, they should be a 10-win team. And if they're a 10-win team, I can't say that they're over 10.5. I'm going to say that they go over. I think that they have the coaching. They still have the players. They still have that gritty pedigree. They're going to go in there and, beat up teams. So I do think they'll get to 11. I could very well see 11. I think 12 is definitely in the cards. I don't think 15 is their peak anymore. I think it's more like a 13-win team, but I think they're still a very good team. So I'll go over on 10.5 for sure.
Okay. Brandon, your thoughts?
Yeah, I'm definitely taking the over. Everybody's there on offense still. Like Jamison Williams finally popped off and broke out. It's like that's going to help out Amon-Ra. But like the defense, like if they could make just any just marginal improvements to the defense, which they already did, like they brought in a bunch of guys on the defensive side of the ball. Like they had one of the worst defenses in the NFL last year once Aiton Hutchinson kind of went out, and obviously they had a lot of injuries. But I mean, I could see him being anywhere from 11 to 13, like even with a league average defense. So that's something I'd smash the over on.
Yep, Kyle, you?
They're a challenging team to me for a few reasons. Obviously, the NFC North is just loaded. We saw that last year. The biggest thing to me with the Lions right now, look at the Eagles coming off that original Chiefs Super Bowl that they lost. They lose both of their coordinators the next year, and we saw how it affected them. Lions are in a similar situation. They didn't make it to even the NFC Championship game, but they did have pretty much their most successful season in franchise history. I mean, obviously the year before, NFC Championship game, but the regular season, they were a juggernaut. So you combine that and they lose both their coordinators and, again, a loaded division. I could see a world, where they just sit at 10 wins or maybe get to 9, depending on if, injuries and all that. But like Brandon said, they made improvements to their defense. You still got a lot of the talent there on offense. You're basically returning your entire team. You should favor them, but you can always kind of factor in, like, will this be the year Jared Goff drops off? Will this be the year? Maybe they have a year like the Niners last year where everyone gets injured. So I always, like, on these 10, 11 numbers for over-unders, I always tend to lean under, and especially in these competitive divisions where you got literally 4 teams who can win a division. Let's say 3. I wouldn't count the Vikings there, but we know the Vikings got talent. So minimum 3, though. I mean, Bears are a real threat. Packers are obviously a threat. And then, if
never know what McCarthy's
going to look like. But if the coordinators don't hinder the Lions at all and they can just stay reasonably healthy, like they just don't lose all their main players, I mean, they should be another 13-win team. But Packers are going to be scary this year. And like Tim said, Ben Johnson does wonders with Caleb. You should walk into 9 wins with that roster.
So I have them over, and reason being is they're returning their defense because they didn't have a defense towards the back half of the season because they got so beat up. So I think that the fact that their defense is already going to increase, especially towards what it was the back half of the season, you're returning the entire offense and what they already had. Obviously, you're losing Ben Johnson and Aaron Glenn. So the Eagles were a 14-3 team, I believe. They got to the Super Bowl. They lost to the Chiefs 38-35. And then the next year they did start 10-1, but then they went on that weird slide and they ended 11-6. So they took 3 wins back. I could see the Lions, even if they take 3 or 4 wins back, that's still at 11. So I think that they're going to be able to get there. I think Dan Campbell is a good coach, and you're right. You guys are all right about the division. I think they could get to 11 wins and maybe not even win the division. We saw last year the Vikings were 14-3. The Packers made the playoffs as a 10-win roster, or 11. I think it was a 10-win, but maybe even 11. I think it was 10, but they were a double-digit wins. And then the Bears, they lost games, but they were still very competitive, of course. I think that division itself last year had close to 40 wins. I think you could have a division like that again because they're just a really good division, but I think that the Lions will get to at least 11, if not 12. I don't know if they're not the favorites. The Eagles are the favorites, but I think they're still probably, as of this moment in time, the second best team in the NFC until we see the drafts play out, see how everything else plays out. But I'd have them as my second favorites in line right now. Okay. We're going to stick with one more team in the NFC. I'm trying to lean against some of the teams that we've already talked about in past podcasts. Like we mentioned the Panthers a little bit. Obviously, Brandon's a Jags fan. Timmy's a Giants fan. Kyle and I are Patriots fans. We've talked about those teams. So NFC South, I actually want to hear about the Atlanta Falcons. Their over-unders at 7.5, minus 115 if you were to take the over on that. But Timmy, over-under 7.5 for the Atlanta Falcons. What do you think?
I'll definitely take the over here. I think 8 wins is very achievable for this team. They still have very good skill position players, and if Penix is the deal, then I think they're going to be right there in the same situation that the Bears are in. They're going to be a very competent team that can get to, 10 wins wouldn't be unreasonable for them, I don't think at all. So, especially if we see a good season out of Bijan, he could carry him there on his own. So I'll definitely.
I mean, and you think Bijan's going nuts?
Oh yeah, he's going nutty this year. So pencil him in at 12 wins.
Pencil him as they're gonna have the best season since 2016. It's funny. Brandon, you?
Yeah, I'm definitely smashing the over on that. They won 8 games last year. I think they went 8-9 last year. With mainly like Kirk Cousins was pretty subpar last year. I want to say he had like 15 touchdowns, 15 picks, and then Penix came in was 3-3. If he takes a step forward and they get a 24 touchdown, 10 interception season out of him, and Bijan Robinson just does Bijan things, like especially with that division, like that's obviously with Tampa there. Tampa is formidable, but like the Saints are there, like you don't really know what the Saints are doing. The Panthers, like we all think the Panthers are probably going to be better, but like I think we have to see a full season out of Bryce Young, not just a couple games. So it's definitely a division that they could pretty much win between them and Tampa. But I definitely I could see them being like a 9-win team, maybe 10. I think 10 would be their ceiling.
Okay. Kyle, how about you?
So Tim and Brandon are not wrong. Like on its face, yeah, they should get to 8 wins. They should get to 9 wins. It seems logical. My thing is, they're at 7.5. You said
7.5.
like
yes.
that seems low for them. They got a ton of talent. Penix looks good, and Penix is essentially a redshirt freshman. Is what we're getting here, right? So on its face, that seems all right. But I believe, and you could tell me, Keenan, I think the Bucks are at 8 or 9.5. I think
9.5.
Okay, and I think the Panthers are at 6.5, and the Saints are probably at 5.5.
Yes.
If I had to guess.
I saw 6.5.
Okay, so I mean that tells you right there. Okay, there's not much margin between these teams. I would never, ever, ever advise anybody to invest any sort of amount of money on any NFC South team for a future, because it just seems like that division could go a million different ways. I mean, I came on here and said, probably 4 or 5 times last year, like the Buccaneers have earned our respect. We should like treat them as like this team that has an infrastructure and book them for at least 9 wins, because like they've proven they can win no matter who's injured. Even when I heard 9.5 a couple weeks ago from FanDuel, I was like, I don't know if I can get there. You know what I mean? And that's a team like we've seen have real success, get into the playoffs. Baker's like a sustainable, really good to great quarterback. And even still, I'm like, I just don't know. I mean, those 4 teams, even with the Saints in disarray, I keep saying this, they still have real NFL talent on their team. They can still steal a game or 2 from you. And if what's my man saying? Kellen Moore? If he's at least a good head coach, like average to good head coach, like you're gonna get 7 wins. And if you got that, and you got the Panthers somewhere between 7 and 9 wins, or 6 and 9 wins, and if the Falcons, let's say Penix is just like pretty good and gets you to 8 or 9 wins, like you're just in that ballpark. If you can get to 9 wins, you can also get to 7 wins with, depending on where your injuries line up, depending on, week to week, depending on your schedule. So on its face, yes, they should get to 8, but it's a scary division to even try to make predictions for, because you just don't know what the hell you're getting. But yeah, if I had to, definitely I would pick them for 8 for sure. That seems like a low number at 7.5, but I'd be scared to death doing it.
Fair. I would have them at the over as well. I was actually interested. I was just interested what all of your guys' thoughts. I have them at the over as well. We mentioned Kirk Cousins. Obviously, he fell off a cliff towards the back half of the season. You take out the 2 Tampa Bay games he played in, which he was phenomenal in both of those. He was 10 touchdowns to 15 picks last season. So they were getting subpar quarterback play throughout the entirety of the year. He really had 4 good games, and the rest of them were bad. And they still were able to get 8 and 9. I think they could do roughly around the same thing, 8 and 9. They could be anywhere from 6 and 11 to 10 and 7. I think anywhere in that range you could talk me into all of them, just because of the way that the NFC South really is. But I got them at the over as well. We'll have a couple. Actually, I'm going to go one more team, and then Kyle will talk about the Luka, and then we'll be good. The last team I'm going to talk about right now, the Houston Texans. Their over under is at 9.5, and it's plus 100. So like Vegas is thinking that It's pretty much a pick 'em at 9.5. Do we think Houston's getting to double digits this year, Timmy?
Probably. I hate the Houston Texans, man. I feel like they are a perennial 10-win team. Like, they're just going to be at 10. That's kind of like their peak. We haven't really seen, like, maybe we get a great season as CJ Stroud, and they get over that. But, like, I feel like 10 is just, like, hitting the nail on the head with them. So, I'll take the under on it because I think even though the AFC South is pretty bad, I think they will be a little bit more competitive next year. And maybe they slip one game or two to them. So I'll take the under. I think they're like a 9-win team for sure.
Okay.
I hate the Houston Texans too. Oh God, I guess like 9.5. That's because I think the Jags are going to be more competitive. I think the Colts are going to be more competitive. I guess
just to give you a quick, because I did it with the last division, just to give you something quick. Jags are over under 7.5. The Tennessee Titans are over under 5.5, and the Colts are over under 7.5. So they think that the Jags are about an 8-win team, Colts 8-win team, Titans about a 6-win team, roughly. Go on.
If I was betting, I'd probably take the over. Like, I think 10 wins is achievable. The offensive line is going to be like the biggest question mark, like with them getting rid of Laramie Tunsil, and then I want to say also the right tackle as well too. Obviously, if you get a full season from Nico Collins, Christian Perk over there now, Tank Dell, I don't know when he'll be back. Joe Mixon's there. They've got a pretty good defense. Like, I think 10 wins is achievable for them.
Hey, Kyle, you?
I would lean under. I honestly feel about the AFC South the same way I feel about the NFC South. Like, I would not want to wager any part of any of their futures. Maybe aside from, I think a couple weeks ago, Tennessee, you said they're at 5.5 now? I think they were at 4.5. 5.5 would be stretching it for me, but if they could have got to 5 wins, I definitely probably would have thrown something on that. But everything else, man, like as far as, and actually like I just said I wouldn't invest, but I kind of do like the Jags at 7.5, honestly. And with them being so close, and Indy's perennially like a 7, 8, 9 team, 10-win team even at their peak, I would lean under for the Texans, especially when you got Tank Dell definitely missing the whole season. They were disappointing last year as far as how their offense went. Stroud's obviously great, and I think they can definitely get to 9. 10 would be pushing it for me, though. So I'd go under.
Okay, so I have over just because I think they'll fall into 10-7 again. Like, I think it's going to be tough, though, because they obviously play the AFC South, but then they play the AFC and the NFC West this season. So they see the Chiefs,
knowing that,
I was gonna say they see the Chiefs, the Chargers, the Broncos, the Raiders, the Rams, the 49ers, the Cardinals, and the Seahawks, and then they also play the Bills and the Ravens because they were division winners last year.
That sounds like 8 wins to me.
Yeah, so I wanted to see the schedule, and they're playing the Colt. Obviously, they're playing their division opponents on the road, but then they see the Chiefs, Chargers, Ravens, Rams, and Seahawks on the road. And then they play the division opponents at home. And then they play the Broncos, Raiders, Bills, Cardinals, 49ers. Oh, and I didn't mention the Buccaneers. They play them at home. So I'm
taking the under.
Yeah, you want to lean under there. Like that's tough. I mean, because and Vegas is kind of leaning there. They have it at plus 100, so like pretty much a pick 'em, but like even on like a little bit on the plus. Like, but yeah, I'm gonna take them at 10, and I don't know if I don't know if I'd feel confident with that before the season. I'm just gonna take the over.
There are a lot of.
I wouldn't be putting that move.
No, I'm putting $1 on it.
Yeah. They're facing way too many contenders, and they're an average team with a really good quarterback.
Yeah, I like them defensively though. That's one, like they have a good front. They've got good talent, and especially I like the defensively is more so where I like them rather than offense. I really like them defensively, but Obviously, I should like them offensively too, but I really like them defensively. But all right, so that's 4 teams. We can sprinkle these out throughout, and we'll go through all of them at some point. But we'll sprinkle.
Give us one more.
Throughout.
Get us to 5. Get us one more.
Okay.
What was the Chargers win total?
9.5. We'll do the Chargers. Chargers over under 9.5. Minus 110.
Take the over. I think it's a good year for them. I think they need pieces in this draft for sure. I would like to see another wide receiver on this roster. But I think 10 wins is very, very achievable for them. So,
yeah, I'm going to take the over on 10 wins. Like, I think if they, like, when they were using Quentin Johnson as their de facto wide receiver 1, I think just a little bit more receiver talent, which they probably will address in the draft. Like, their offensive line's great. Like, they're going to have a good running game. Defense is going to be good. Like, I think that's an easy over. I think that's a 10 or 11 win team.
Mm-hmm.
On its face, does seem like a 10-win team, but I mean, this is another division that scares the hell out of me as far as futures go. It's going to be a competitive division. Broncos will be better. Raiders will definitely be better. Chiefs, I don't know. I think the Chiefs are going to be a little worse, but still competitive, obviously. Chargers, it would be dependent on how their draft goes for me. Right now, I could see them falling anywhere between 9 and 11, probably 8 and 11 even. All depends. But at their baseline with Harbaugh, with Herbert, he's obviously a good regular season performer. You should at least get to 9, and yeah, I'd give him the edge at 10. I mean, that's who I'll be looking for anyway for the division next year. Broncos are going to be scary, though. I really think the Broncos are going to be a problem. I mean, Bo Nix just, if you can keep him kind of managing and just get really good talent around him, and then that defense just keeps improving for a defense that we thought was not going to be good, Broncos might scare some people next year as far as division goes. I could see them being random.
They're at 9.5 as well.
Yeah.
They got Evan Ingram now, too.
And Chiefs got a high line. I think Chiefs are at 11.5.
11.5,
I like the under on that one. I like the under.
So, last one, since we're doing the Chargers, I like them. I like them at the over. They do play the AFC South this year, so I think that's probably 2, if not 3, if not 4 wins. It might be maybe able to sweep it, depending. Sorry, Brandon.
I don't care.
Over on the Chargers, though.
I wouldn't put my money on the Jaguars this year.
Then they play the AFC or the NFC East. They play the NFC East, so you could get a few wins there as well. So I think that, at least I think it's the NFC East. But regardless, I think that the Chargers can get to 10. I do think that the Chargers can get to 10, so I would take the over on that one. I like this. This is good. This is good stuff. We'll be sprinkling this in because there's always NFL talk. I mean, who doesn't love talking the NFL? But last but not least, I mean, we got a matchup, and it's Luka Doncic heading home. The next time we talk, that game will be on. Luka Doncic heading home. Kyle, what were your thoughts on this? You wanted to talk about this?
I want predictions for this game. This game will be on at 7:30 on Wednesday. So I don't really know what the schedule will look like Wednesday. I'm actually going to be getting into Miami Wednesday afternoon. That being said, my whole night is planned around this game. Like, I'm not missing this game. I cannot wait for it. I think it's going to be the weirdest return ever for any player returning to their former team. I mean, we know what a gut punch this was to Mavericks fans and probably some within the Mavericks organization for sure. Though it seemed like everyone was on board. So I just want predictions. I mean, like Luka's a psycho. He's gonna go for the throat here. So what's the realm of possibility? Are we saying 60? Like I want to know what everyone thinks. I mean, he's kind of a walking triple double anyway. So I think he had a triple double in the first game against the Mavs, correct? If not close, like it was like a 24-point triple double. So I want to know stat lines from everyone.
Timmy, you go first, and then Brandon, I'll close it.
I got a question real quick.
What's up?
We're calling this a homecoming. Didn't he already have his homecoming for Dallas?
Dallas played in LA. He hasn't gone to Dallas yet. This is the first time he's been to Dallas since he was traded.
I Googled it, and it says he did. He said February 23rd he played in Dallas.
No, that was in L.A.
That was in
Yeah,
LA.
we can't trust.
That was 120,000%.
We can't trust Google.
I
Google
swear-
told me they weren't even playing the second half of the year when I looked after that game. They tried telling me there was no game in Dallas, so fuck Google.
Interesting. All right. I thought they had already played, so that makes a little bit more sense. Yeah, I think you can pencil him in for 40 points, I'll tell you that.
I like it.
I think he's going to be shooting. He's going to be shooting a lot. And I think LA's going to want him to shoot. They're going to set him open. So give me 42, 8 assists, 8 boards. I think people will say that this is a good homecoming game.
42,
sure.
8, and 8. Okay.
Seems reasonable.
Nearly a
Seems
triple-double.
reasonable.
Brandon, you?
So I think LA wins by double digits. If I had to pick a stat line, I'm going to go with 36 points, 11 assists, 7 rebounds.
Okay.
Let's throw in 2 steals too.
So, me, I got Luka going for like 45, 13 rebounds and like 7 assists. I have the rebounds higher because I've noticed, like, I definitely see it with like players like Steph, LeBron. When the games matter, they get the rebounds.
Yeah.
Like they like rebounding. Like Kyle, one of the things you always used to say was like, look at the free throw attempts. For me, it's also look at the rebounding numbers. Like it's because it's how much you want the ball and like how much you're going to limit them to have 1 possession rather than 2. So those guys who can rebound well, you see a really high rebounding numbers from them in games that matter. And I think this game clearly matters. And they're on the second of a back-to-back, and they beat OKC today. And it looks like the Warriors are going to lose to the Rockets right now. So they might sit everybody. Like Luka might not play on Tuesday. But I think Luka's going for 20 in the first, at least. I think you're seeing a 20-point first quarter from Luka, and I think he ends with like 45-13 in like 7. And the only reason why I don't think it's 50 or 60 is because I think it's going to be a close game-ish for a half, and then I think they're just going to pull away in the third. And the good thing about it is LeBron's had a homecoming like this too, so he can kind of speak a little bit. I mean, different, but the same. But like he's had I'm going back to my place, but no one's ever had one like this because what are fans gonna do? Are they crying? Are they laughing?
It's gonna be such a weird atmosphere. They're gonna cry. They're gonna cheer Luka on probably, because I mean. This wasn't his doing. This was completely Nico Harrison.
You've got to put a tribute video out, right? Like, we've got to have a Luka tribute. I understand he was only there for, like, 6 years, I think it was, but he did go to a Western Conference Finals and a Finals. Like, you got to...
Don't quote me on this, but I think there's a real chance the fans could just storm Nico Harrison and, like, carry him to center court and just sacrifice him right there. Like, I wouldn't be surprised.
Nico Harrison better be in the building and better be visible.
Nico Harrison's completely tone deaf. He's still like, yeah, no, we won this trade. We got out of the Luka business. Like, it's unreal. Yeah, that's the thing. He'll be probably courtside, like not even thinking anything of it, and all the fans are gonna be cheering fire Nico like they do. And then on top, it's gonna be just super weird. Like you said, fans will be crying. Fans will definitely be cheering him on, and it's just going to be sad. It's going to be sad to watch their fans go through it. Like, I can't just imagine like the Patriots trading Tom Brady in like 2010 or something like that. You know what I mean? There's no reason for it. Or even the Chiefs. Like, it'd be like the Chiefs or be like, I think
it would be right now, like it'd be like Joe Burrow being traded right now because it like went to a Super Bowl, been to a finals, and like obviously coming off a really good season where he didn't do anything wrong, and they just because they're like little worried about the injury, so we wanted to trade Joe Burrow to get a guy who's an Iron Man. They trade Joe Burrow and they go get Jared Goff.
Yeah.
They go get Jared Goff, a guy who.
it'd be like trading Joe Burrow for like a top tier running back. You know what I mean? And being like, we're going to be a ground and pound team. That's how we're going to win. We're not going to do this finesse stuff. Like that's really how Nico was talking about it when they got rid of Luka. Oh, we're going to focus on defense. That's how you win championships. Yeah, no, it's going to be a sickening experience. For the Mavs fans anyway, my prediction. Tim seems like the most reasonable. All three of your guys' predictions seem reasonable. Like, he's gonna go for the jugular. They'll probably pull away, but AD is back. Excuse me, hold up. Get the burps here.
You're all good, Kyle.
I would say I'm gonna exceed all your expectations. It probably won't happen. I'm gonna go double nickel. We'll say 8 rebounds, 6 assists, double nickel though, 55 for Luka. 8 3-pointers. But I think we're gonna get close to what Tim said, something like 42, 8 and 8, near triple double, or in fact a triple double. But he's gonna try to fill it up for sure.
He's going to dictate this whole game, and
if the fans don't sacrifice Nico, we're definitely getting Luka raining threes and just screaming "fuck you" to Nico after every basket. Like, that's 150% happening.
I guarantee where Nico's going to find where he is on. Like, Luka's going to know where Nico is in the building, and every bucket's going to be pointed at him. What I need for this is if Nico's a real, like, he believes in his trade, he's going to sit courtside, visible. I don't care where he normally, if he's in his press box doing his press GM whatever stuff, he's going to be courtside, visible. And if that's the case, Luka's going to Reggie Miller, Spike Lee him. That's what's going to happen. He's going to say, you're going to see him and like point and just do this. This is what the problem was. I was too fat. I guarantee I need him courtside. And if you're going to do that, stand on it. And I need you courtside. It's what I need.
What's the over under on how many times they're going to show him on the TV?
17. I'm kidding. I'd say 6. I'd say 6.5. I would say 6.5, and I would. Oh my god!
Taking the over.
Oh my god! Nico needs to be courtside.
I can't wait to watch.
He needs to be visible.
I can't wait to watch.
I have a bold take here. I think we're gonna get a top tier meme out of this. It's gonna be like Luka going off, and then it's just gonna be Nico's face, and it's gonna be like the Eli Manning seeing ghosts meme or something like that. We're gonna get one. It's gonna go viral.
The Luka looking at Devin Booker when he's like there with a smile, and Devin Booker's
just like, or Nico's head's in his hand or something. Like, we're gonna get.
I want to know if you remember this. That Tim just triggered a memory in me. It was Mark Jackson's Warriors. They were playing the Clippers in a playoff series. And the Clippers, for some reason, I think they like racked off like 3 alley-oops consecutively, like fast break alley-oops. And then they just cut to Mark Jackson. He just had a straight face, but he was like thinking to himself, like, fuck. Like, that's probably the type of face Nico's going to have. I just remember we saw it. We just like started busting out laughing because he just like, he couldn't actually react, but in his head, he's like, man, fuck this team. Giving up 3 alley-oops in a row.
And then he got fired, and then Steve Kerr came in and became a dynasty. Oh, no, it's funny. No, I need Nico courtside, and I need Luka needs to go off. Or Luka's just going to let us down and be like 6 of 30 and just be bad.
6 of 52 from the field. He's really going for it.
AD's going to go for like a 40-point triple-double, and Nico's going to be like, see? I told you.
Oh, Nico's probably putting in a call like, hey, AD on Luka first possession. Like, we need that first possession. Get a pick and get it off the screen and just say Luka on AD and have everybody clear out. Just say everybody go. Give me a one-on-one first possession, and then Luka hit him with a step back and literally just like, oh my God. If Luka hits a step back first play, if I'm a coach, I'm calling him timeout instantly. I'm just we're not letting this happen. He's not. He's not catching momentum on us. Boom. Nope.
Timeout.
Get him out of there. Let's calm him down, guys. All right. Well, that was fun, Kyle. I hope you enjoy going to Miami, watching the UFC fight. I'm glad you planned it around this game. Brandon, good luck to you. Timmy, good luck to you on 2 opposite ends. Doesn't matter if it's you. Lakers in 5, what you said in the group chat. I don't know why Shannon did that, but Shannon's.
I'm actually possibly.
SGA.
I'm actually possibly not going to the fights. Still might go, but originally that was the plan for this trip. But might change plans and go to a card in New Jersey. They're looking better than this card. But if you guys do in fact record on Wednesday, after that game, I might tune in for like 10 minutes. Might give a quick, like, depending on what, whatever happens in that game. If you guys will be going live, might have to tune in and give you a 10-minute review of whatever happened. But if not, I'll see you the following week. But I would love to join y'all for 5 to 10. 5 to 10. I can make it in.
Absolutely. So we'll plan it out and we'll figure it out from there. But this was the Warner Brothers Podcast. Like, comment, share on YouTube, TikTok, Instagram, all platforms, Warner Brothers Podcast. Appreciate all of you. Kyle, be safe down in your travels, and we'll see you guys soon.